armor and Victor Zulu 7 Foxtrot.
That's cool.
Ooh, what's up, cutie?
What's up, baby?
Ah! I would like legit kiss you right on your lips.
Look me back. What's up?
I mean,
What's up, baby?
Oh, you got that beats too? Let me.
I am not beatboxing. You got me fucked up.
Oh, come on, no, you got it. Yo, you want me to try some? I'll try some.
This is the way. This is the way.
We're slowly moving towards a future where we own nothing, and most people don't even realize it. Things you once bought outright have turned into subscriptions. Items you could fix or repair are becoming items you just replace, and things you could sell or trade have become physically unsellable. All to keep a constant cash flow coming in for big companies and providing little benefit for end consumers. Have you ever digitally purchased a game on Steam, PlayStation or Xbox Store, or even a movie on iTunes? While you bought it legally, it's forever linked to your account. You cannot lend it to a friend, trade it, or even sell it if you didn't like it or no longer want it. This keeps you tied to a specific platform. If you spent thousands of dollars on digital Xbox games, you aren't suddenly going to switch to a PlayStation knowing you'll be throwing all the money spent on games down the drain. Digital versions also help eliminate the used market. If someone can't obtain a used copy, they'll have to pay for a new one, boosting sales. This is undoubtedly the reason recent consoles have started coming without disk drives, a trend we first saw with computers. But sometimes even having a physical copy doesn't protect you from this. I once purchased a used copy of The Sims 4 on disc. As it turns out, it had an online activation key. Once it'd been installed, no one else could install the game again. Despite owning a legal copy of the disc, I couldn't use it. But that's only an issue when you can buy it in the first place. Many things have transitioned to subscriptions, meaning you don't just pay once and own it, but you must keep paying for it. Why pay $1,300 outright for Adobe software when they can charge you $80 a month for the rest of your life? Of course, you can cancel your subscription, but after spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, you're left with nothing. But it goes further than that. Software is also used to prevent you from owning physical hardware, even reaching the automotive industry. BMW is one of the many car brands using software to lock out parts on its vehicles, now charging a subscription fee to use the heated seats if not initially purchased with the car, meaning the hardware is installed into every car, but not active unless you pay for the ongoing fee. The software is locking you out of hardware that's already...
Oh, lag. Taas ang ping ko. I have the power. He-Man.
Reload 中。
バリアよ。リロード。
スキャンする。ここだ。B に敵を確認。
これで見えない。
ショックだ。
Hello, Hopper.
Sai, Simon, all fucking side.
installed. Tesla used software to limit the charge of one customer's car battery, as he was getting more range than they wanted him to.
スパイクはここだ
At some point, the battery
Oh
had
my
been
God,
replaced
Aquaman.
with one of larger capacity.
Aquaman.
How the fuck is this skill? Oh my god. Oh!
A に敵がいる。
銃がある銃がある
さあ壁を展開。
索敵する
隠すよ。視界をブロック。仕留めた。
One backside.
Okay.
One more backside.
残り1名。パーフェクト。
Nice.
Are you calling yourself? Nice.
今のもう一度。
Nice.
前進するには
Yes, you're nice.
銃がある
誰か買ってもらえますか？
Okay,
銃がある
just gonna take some. Just gonna use a sheriff for the next 3 rounds.
流れをつかみましょう。
Pero grabe yung wallbang na yun. Natang patay pa rin siya. It's way too high.
ロード
Oh, nice.
A に敵がいる。
スキャンする
それで見えたんすよ。
Go, copy. Go A side.
Pull down hill.
バリア解除完了。
One portal.
リロード
敵残り1名。パーフェクト。
Nice.
レイズ、あんたの爆発って最高。
Yan. Ah man, I have a cold. Again! What the fuck? Ito naman yun. Nakaya crouch yun, kaya low ako tumira doon. Sinundan ko yung ano.
Reload.
Go A.
One you hold.
Okay, pal.
Copy.
Cool down hill chamber.
Reload.
Oh. Oh my god.
壁を展開。
Let's go B. Let's go B.
隠すよ。リロード。スパイクを設置。まだ使えない。回復するわ。チャージがないわ。視界をブロック。
最後の1人だ。
As it turns out,
Mas slow ako, no?
standard and long-range models actually had the same battery. One was just software pack. After taking it in for service, they limited the charge of the battery. In the electronic space, Apple uses software to prevent third-party repairers from fixing their devices, causing artificial errors, removing features, and displaying warning messages. John Deere has also been caught doing a similar anti-third-party repair practice with farm equipment like tractors, all in an effort to control what's yours.
進め
Sa elbow ko na nga gagamitin.
リロードリロード
索敵するここだ
One outside.
ここだリロード
バリアよ
Oh fuck, I messed up with the wall.
スパイクを設置ここよ
What the fuck?
B に敵を確認
残り1名
入れ
Elbow, elbow, elbow. I hear him.
武器選びはとても私的な行為だスパイクはここだ武器を見ればどんな金はあるぞ
リロードリロードリロードリロード
行くぞ相馬遊びたいのか相手に
リロード B に敵確認リロードここ
逃げられるか
勝つよスパイクを設置バリアよここよ
残り1名
Last guy in B main.
Don't pee.
グレネード
Nice.
Nice!
さあ行きますよ
Wait, start tie my hair. Where's my hair? Where's my hair tie? Ah, it's gone. What? Shit. Ito yung ali ko. Hindi ata.
Oh, nice!
They might go B. They might stack A. I mean B. Let's go A.
Okay, good.
準備はいいね行くよ
ドローン展開
What the fuck was that?
ここだ俺はハンターだ逃げられないぞ
Oh,
さあ壁を展開
oh fuck! Ayun!
最後の一人だ A でキャリアダウン
Go man, that's why. I thought you got him though.
Regardless if it's $1,000.
私たちはバロラント誇りを持って戦いましょう
Cypher voice. I think I can do a cypher voice.
What has Kingdom done to this town? However pretty their lies are, they're just sucking my city dry. Get out of my city. Ah, Triad. A base that leaks secrets so bad you
I
think
dropped
we
the
were
left.
trying to.
I don't think I can copy that.
回復するわ爆弾行くよ A に
I don't have a gun. In the gun. Oh fuck.
샤워.
I'm going B.
Go B, go B.
I'm sorry.
B で
Sorry.
キャリアダウン残り1
Last guy backside.
最後の一人だ
Yeah, I heard you. Nice.
キャリーっていうのは私の友達って意味
Nice.
で
Oh!
もヘマしたらクワシアおバカさんって呼ぶからね
Nice. What the fuck? Nice.
リロード大丈夫私たちは強い行きな
リロードスキャンする
ヘッドショット
Oh fuck! One more! Holy shit!
リロード次リロード中
バリアよ
ここだ
It's it.
残り1名
Oh.
俺の情報をもとに動け敵に移動の隙を与えるな金はあるぞ
誰か買ってもらえますか
何か必要かおごるよ
リロード装備くれなサンキュー行きましょう
遊びたいのか相手に
That's what I would do.
索敵する
隠すよ
Backside, backside.
発見
壁を展開
Oh, wow, hooked up.
終わりです
Elbow, city.
One more backside. One more backside.
普通に使いだ
最後の一人
Oh,
だ
backside.
修行不足ね
Two city.
残り1名
Nice try.
Sorry.
攻守交代前最終ラウンド
必要なものは全て買うんだ
Hindi ko kaya, hindi ko na kaya yung boses niya. Dati kayang-kaya ko yun.
メターセありがとう
Ah, I've always wanted to pry my way in here. Don't mind if I just leave Phoenix. Burn. Where is everyone hiding?
Where is everyone hiding?
行こうか
Parang scared. Parang iba.
The rush A, I'm out.
さあ行け
Where is it?
逃げられないぞ。逃げられるか。
回復するわ。
Aquaman sucks. Shh.
1 HP, oh my god!
敵を排除。
What?
最後の一人だ。狩りの時間よ。攻守を交代。
I know exactly where you are.
そこをつくぞ。
Give me a corpse. This is no problem.
Sorry. Mag-French siya. Mega. Give me a corpse. Where is everyone hiding? Where is everyone hiding? I couldn't do it. I can't. I just can't. It's impossible. It's impossible.
This is no problem. Headshot. My eyes are better than yours.
Stars in B. Oh, that was you.
バリアよ。
Stabs in hookah.
I think he's A.
Hey, Goody.
Low.
Are they in? Like all of them?
Side.
さあ、
敵残り1名。
残念です。
Where's everyone hiding?
さて、どの銃にしようか。
Where's everyone hiding? I'm not supposed to say that. Give me a corpse. I know exactly where you are.
Let's see what I have to use.
Aiming one.
壁を展開。
敵残り1名。
One more.
友よ。
装備よし。無茶しないで。さあ、行くよ。
リロード。ここだ。
戦え。
敵する。
See.
Never go B.
Aiming one.
On the way in there.
They coming.
Let's try.
グルネード。壁を展開。
Aiming one.
Going out.
A で
One more, you mean?
ダウン。
Man.
You
Oh
hold.
main, oh main.
残り1名最後の1人だ
Low.
Nice one.
Nice try. I can buy a gun for you.
Thank you.
Really? An Odin? Okay.
Yeah, Odin God.
That's what I say about my penis. Odin. You know, cause big. Oh, sorry.
何から爆破しようかな。
ここだ
One's in, you know.
爆弾起動。バリア。いただき。
He's gonna jump, you see. He's gonna jump. I swear. Me, man.
Nice.
Easy.
大丈夫。私がついています。
So easy.
Nice. Oh.
Are you a Pokemon? Nice. 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 Might come 8 this time.
うせな。
Yeah, it's A.
狩りの時間よ
相場を倒した。
Check behind you. Check CT. Jets flanking. Once I hear the gun, I'll shoot.
Where is Spike?
敵残り1名 A でキャリアダウン
Heaven.
Told you. Oh no, don't die. On the guy.
あと30秒
Rotation.
最後の1人だスパイクを設置
Nice.
I'm so much better.
愚かなこと。
I can buy a gun for one guy.
マッチポイント
これで終わりにするぞ
Here, I have skin for that.
誰か買ってもらえますか。
Mine's better.
Mine?
Oh, nice gun, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
力を合わせて。
Now go kill the people over there. It's already off. Oh my god.
壁を展開。ジェットを倒した。
Fucking right. One's in hookah.
Nice.
Please help.
One hookah.
最後の1人だスパイクを設置 残り1名
Lead the way. Oh,
Oh my god. You know money.
nice try.
ま
You
とめ
guys
て
know
相手にな
money.
ります
Just like in real life.
I can buy.
I'll give this over. I'm so much better. I'm sensing a B push again.
遊びたいのか相手になろう発見
Oh, you actually got him.
Oh my god.
That was a nice shot. One's in hookah.
逃げられないぞ
MMO.
The push.
Again. Yep.
Shower out.
逃げられるか
I can't say it. What the fuck? Oh my god.
次はどんな作
Hey,
戦だ
Papa.
見せてもらおうか節約しよう
Thank you.
You know, you're so much. Take my gun. Go. Take my gun. Here. Take it. No. I want to kill myself.
うせな
Where?
バリアよ いきな
No one A.
リロードはい次邪魔よ ここ
One more.
残り
Nice.
1名
敵確認
Good game.
ディフェンダーの勝利
Just man.
あれ君山私がやったんだけど
Ba't may hapon dito? Ano to? Obasan to. I'm not quite sure what this kanji is. Fuck's sake.
Cover up. I can't say it, what the fuck? Oh my god. I can't say it, what the fuck? Oh my.
Saan yung clip ko?
Cover up. I can't say it, what the fuck? Oh my god. Eto.
見せてもらおう。節約しよう。
May clip ba? Did I clip that? Where is it? That was good. But just one game of fun. Oh man, I hate myself. That was so stupid.
Trident を確認。
私は盾、そして剣。それを忘れないで。
George H.W. Bush agreed, verbally.
Bar. We can't show any weakness in front of the Russians.
This was never an actual written agreement, it was just an understanding. Oh, also I was lying. This agreement wasn't made with Russia after the fall of the USSR, but before, with Gorbachev. The importance of this agreement really depends on who you ask. For avid Russian supporters, this was a legitimate, sometimes legal agreement that NATO promised and then broke. For NATO, their promise not to move east was an informal verbal agreement that doesn't matter. Throughout the last century, there have been multiple discussions between NATO and the Russians over their relationship with NATO. The first one, at least of note, was in 1990, where the United States agreed not to move east into East Germany after the fall of the Berlin Wall. The USSR, though weakened, was still a prominent power, and NATO verbally agreed that they would never move in to Germany. And then the Soviets collapsed. Now, when talking about how important these promises were to the Soviets, we will never really know. Even Gorbachev flip-flops on how important these assurances actually
Well, bro.
A でキャリアダウン。
運命です。
敵残り1名。
リロード。
チームエース。
What's more interesting is the constant mention of the CSCE. Never heard of it? It's because it never really panned out like it was truly planned. Whether or not any of this was true or just bluster, this talk of a united umbrella was seen as a viable possibility in the early 90s, before the USSR even fell. This is what Gorbachev and the Russians heard. Russia, at least if the Soviets fell, would be joining a united Europe. And then Clinton was elected.
Yung isa, hindi. Yung sa may, yung nakabox, hindi. Sirain. Tag 70 to nyo.
いい仕事。
次はどんな作戦で来る？見せてもらおうか。It's 1992, baby. The Soviets are dead. Bush, despite overseeing the fall of the Soviet Union,
A でキャリアダウン。眠って。さあ行け。敵を見つけた。敵残り1名。
in bombing Saddam's forces back into Iraq, still promised to not raise taxes.
Read my lips.
And then he raised taxes. So he was voted out. NATO was seen as a relic of an age that no longer existed. It was an active discussion in the 90s what the fate of NATO should even be. It was a stringently anti-communist alliance that no longer had a communism to fight, and yet NATO stayed. Now, let me take out this big old button. I should iterate that the Russians are not simply victims of this. For Central Europe, nations like Poland, Hungary, Romania, and even other nations like the Baltic states were living under Soviet control for decades. As soon as the Warsaw Pact fell, there was a real homegrown movement to join NATO, or at least get some protection from the West in case anything happened again. Would anything happen again? Who knows? The West didn't know, the Russians didn't know, and this was kind of the base. Of Clinton sort of keeping NATO around. We're into 1993. Russia is slowly rebuilding, with a few hiccups along the way. Clinton comes to Boris Yeltsin with a proposal, a partnership for peace. All of Europe now coming together. Nobody would need to expand NATO if we all were just in this partnership together. And then Clinton drops the bombshell on Yeltsin. This whole partnership for peace was not an alternative to the expansion of NATO. It was a preparation for it. To which Yeltsin replied, why? NATO was created in Cold War times. Today it's trying to find its place in Europe, not without difficulty. It's important that this search not create new divisions, but promote European unity. We believe that the plans of expanding NATO are contrary to this logic. Why sow this mistrust? After all, we're no longer adversaries. We are partners. Yet the plans continued. Poland, Hungary, and Czechia soon joined NATO. Yet this wasn't the breaking point in relations. Russia still remained a part of the NATO cooperation sphere. There was an optimistic view that the kinks in this whole thing were slowly being worked out. Now, keep in mind, this whole time, NATO is entirely justified in what they're doing. They're technically not doing anything wrong, but from the Russian mindset, going from a communist superpower to a mafia state, where this man is their leader, well, they felt nothing but shame. That fear and paranoia only began to grow and manifested. This guy is power. But even with Putin's alliance and winning the presidency through some zany means, Russia was still somewhat friendly with the US. Yet that was going to change. In 2004, NATO, under Bush's push, brought in 7 new nations. Now, once again, if these nations wanted to join NATO, that's fine. But after a decade of this, Russia became paranoid that NATO was simply out to get them. And then Bush welcomes in these nations as escaping an evil empire.
The door to NATO. Will remain open until the whole of Europe is united in freedom and in peace.
You can even go back to articles in 2004 where people say Russia is going to change their foreign policy. The Russian Duma began freaking out, and the first man they ran to was a violent coup. Georgia was invaded 4 years later. Keep in mind when I say Russians, I don't mean all Russians. I mean the Russian government, which should usually be clear, but I just know some of you are gonna try to use that as a gotcha. One question may be on your mind. After the Cold War, why didn't the Russians just join NATO if they were so afraid of it? General opposition to the West, for one. Russia, even while the USSR was collapsing, didn't want to view this as a defeat. They wanted to view this as a new age. Then it turns out only their institutions fell. But there's also another reason why Russia didn't join. NATO is not simply an alliance, it's a structured machine. When a nation joins NATO, it is not simply changing to the blue team. The way its military is organized becomes based around being able to work within that machine. A country joining NATO is a process that takes years. This isn't a process that simply happens. For one, a nation joining NATO has to be unanimously accepted by everyone. And it also has to be voted on by that nation. As an example, Hungary in 1997 voted 85% in favor of joining. Would the Russian people ever have accepted to join an organization that they believed was an arm of the American empire? The rule of geopolitics is the closer you are to a superpower, the more they mingle and try to control your nation. And that's what Russia really views a lot of their neighbors as, just pawns on a board for which they, as the stronger nation, have the right to control. Their goals in Europe simply drive others away from them. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. NATO expansion closer to Russia only made them more paranoid and isolated. However, if NATO didn't expand, who's to say what countries like Estonia might find themselves in right now? It's clear Putin has some fantasy about rebuilding the Russian Empire, or at least the influence of the USSR. This video is not about two equally bad camps. NATO's greatest sin, at least in this regard, is leaving its doors wide open. It's been said that Americans should imagine what it'd be like if Canada fell to Chinese influence. Complaining that your geopolitical rival lied about letting your former allies into their compass club doesn't make you look like a victim. Nobody would feel sorry for the United States if China took Canada. They would laugh. Oh wait, actually we don't need a hypothetical. The same situation happened with the US too, with Cuba. And we know how the US would react when a neighbor turns to the enemy's side. Keep them sanctioned for decades, which, here's a little tip, is a bad thing to do too. Whataboutism is used a lot by pro-Putin supporters, bringing up every transgression the US has ever done. And it's true the United States has done a lot of bad things. Iraq, for instance, that was bad. It's funny it's being used as an equivalent because people in the West at the time protested the war without disappearing. The closest the US had to censoring opposition to the Iraq war was when the country industry killed off the Dixie Chick's career. Can Russians today say the same thing, or are they not even allowed to call this a war but a military operation? That said, we should be asking some questions to ourselves. Did NATO still need to exist after the Soviets fell? Did NATO existing push Russia towards a nationalistic paranoia in the reforming years that undermined the same liberal democracy that the West was promoting in the country? Was NATO obligated to give Russian interests the time of day? Do geopolitics even work like that? From my personal opinion, I believe that the Russians had far different expectations for what a post-Soviet world would look like. The Russians believed, in part because of those 1990 talks involving East Germany, that with the end of the Warsaw Pact, NATO wouldn't expand. That instead, there would be some coalition in Europe.
設置さあ行け
where Russia has special privileges. While to the Americans, they took the fall of the USSR as a victory. Their promises to the Soviets were when the Warsaw Pact still existed. With the collapse, the Americans now oversaw a Central and Eastern Europe that was eager to join in the economic prosperity of the West. It was a complicated act balancing these nations while also trying to not exclude the Russians. A Europe that Russia claimed it wanted to be in. Yet, Russia only became more and more isolated. While much of this discussion is around NATO, this is simply one element. NATO, up until recent events, didn't actually move their military equipment past those original 1991 borders. The main issue the Russian government has isn't just a military. Bloc, but Western institutions, or at least institutions that don't serve their interests. If Putin wasn't blaming NATO, the problem would be something else. Like, I don't know, the whole thing that started this in the first place, like Ukrainians wanting to join the European Union. Putin's Russia really has been their own worst enemy for a while, as every hostile action, every threat, every influence, every corrupt politician has only made their former allies turn against them. It's always good to try to see from all perspectives, yet not all perspectives are equal. Sometimes the perspective is simply that another nation was a mistake to exist. Sometimes it's that the collapse of the USSR was the most catastrophic event of the 20th century. Even if there was a kernel of truth to the idea that NATO misled the Russians, it does not justify their actions. Should Putin really be talking about how misleading is bad? Kind of seems like that was their strategy for the last few months. NATO is not a perfect organization. However, if the nations of Europe want to join this club, it should always be their right. Russia expected the continent to remain neutral ground for their own interests, even after their pact collapsed. And when that didn't happen, they claimed no fair. You do not start wars over verbal agreements that happened before most of your troops were even born. We cannot forget that this all is coming down to a real war within a split nation. A war that, while true has been raging for 8 years, only began because the Russian side didn't have their guy in charge anymore. One that escalated into an invasion of an independent nation, which regardless of the justification, only justifies the fears of Russia's enemies. So, yeah, congrats Putin, you were the monster that proved NATO was right to build up. While this alliance didn't know what it was going to be in the mid-90s, it sure does know now. You didn't want to be a part of Europe, and now you get your wish. Many might.
彼らの罪の重さを思い知らせてやりましょう。
Where did my clips go?
For phone or $100,000 tractor. The way things are now, we can own the hardware but not the software that makes it work. Without proper regulation, it's being used against us, to prevent us from doing what we like with our gear, or forcing us to upgrade before the place. And in most cases, you can't remove that proprietary software and replace it with something else, as there is software also preventing you from doing just that. With everything so heavily integrated with software, we are say all software and subscriptions are bad. For services that require a back-end server, a subscription-based model makes sense and provides a sustainable business model. So I'm not against all subscription services. The only subscriptions I have, excluding utility bills, is for my email and web hosting. Both of which require After all, you couldn't pay for a lifetime of internet in one bill. Otherwise, your internet service provider would go broke, or the connection cost would be too expensive. Video streaming services do provide a much cheaper way to consume movies and TV shows without having brought them outright. A sort of digital version of a rental store. It's a similar thing with music streaming. However, given the lower cost of music and places like iTunes or Z Digital providing a place to purchase DRM-free music, a music subscription may not be as cost effective, especially as you need to keep paying to listen to all of your music, locking you into the monthly fee. This model has been widely accepted, as most are only a few dollars a month. But these costs soon add up fast, with an average of $55 a month being spent by Australians on entertainment services. Not everything needs to be a subscription, it's draining every last cent from consumers, but it seems to be the most profitable approach for companies. I've stopped purchasing things digitally for the last 2 years. But for things I've brought before that time, I now know what it's like to have spent money on things I now don't want and can't get rid of. I'm forced to keep my Steam account as I cannot pass on my purchased games to someone else. Granted, I only have a small library of games, but I have no interest in gaming and want to sell or at least give the games to someone else. Something I can't do. And it's a similar story with my Apple ID. I purchased a few movies that I can't use outside Apple software as of the DRM copy protection, as well as purchased apps, one of which costs over $500. Deleting my account would cause me to lose these digital purchases, and with Trident Pro being only a digital purchase, I couldn't buy a physical copy if I wanted to. With physical copies, you can legally sell or give the item to someone else. This is referred to as the is transferred to the buyer, but not the copyright, meaning the buyer cannot reproduce the copyrighted work, but is entitled to resell it. This doesn't seem to apply to digital versions. It's scary to realize just how much the electronics and digital items we purchase